Welcome back, Super Friends. Today we are going to be doing some dividing decimal by whole numbers. It'll be 2-digit whole numbers this time. You'll need your math notebook or folder, a pencil to write with, and don't forget that super brain of yours. Stay tuned for the video. Super Friends, we are going to be dividing decimals by 2-digit whole numbers. So just like how we did before with our 1-digit whole number, we want to get our house going. Then we want to put our dividend inside the house and our divisor outside the house. Of course, since the divisor is a whole number, that means we are not worrying about any decimals in our divisor. So the only decimal we need to worry about is the one in the dividend, and we put that one on the roof so that it gets placed in our quotient, which means our answer. So now we can go ahead and get started on some multiples for 14. Multiples of 14. 28. Let me add more. 42. So now I have 42. And the next one would be 56. If I didn't trust myself, I can just add it here and I would see that it's 56. Adding more, I'm going to have 14 plus 56, 0, regroup, 70. That'll be 70. Next one is 80. Sorry, not 80. It's going to be 84. Plus 14 is going to give us 98. And let's add one more and then I'll be done. Plus 4, that's 2, regroup, that's 11. So 112. All right. So now let's get started with our division. We have 14. How many times can I get 14 out of the number 6? That is going to be a big fat 0, Miss Choice, because 6 is too small. So 14 times 0 equals 0. I'm going to subtract it. 6 minus 0 equals 6. Bring down my next number. So now I have 68. What is the biggest number I can get to minus out my 68 without going past it? So far, it looks like it's just my 56, and that is a 1, 2, 3, fourth multiple. So 4 times 14 equals 56. I just circled it. Subtract that out. Subtract that out, I get 2, then 1. Next thing to do is to bring down my next number, which is the 6. Looking at my multiples, I could try to do my 112, but I'm going to get one more multiple just to be on the safe side. So I have plus 14 here. That gives me 6. That gives me 2. That gives me 1. Oh, I'm glad we were being safe because that's what I needed. So now my 126 is right here. Let's just see which multiple that is. So for the 126, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th, the 9th multiple. So now I have my answer here. Subtract out my 126, I get 0. There's nothing else to bring down because I did it already. So now the only thing left to do is to circle our answer. Our quotient for this problem is 4.9. That is our quotient. Let's go on to the next example. All right, next example says 344.25 divided by 51. So of course, just like before, we are going to get our house going. My divisor lives inside of the house. Sorry, my dividend lives inside of the house. My divisor is visiting the house. Now, because my divisor is a whole number, that means there's no decimal to worry about in my divisor. If there was a decimal in my divisor, I would have to worry about it. But since there isn't, let's go on to the dividend divisor. So in my dividend, I just put my decimal up to my quotient so that I don't forget where it goes. Now we're all good with that. Let's start with our multiples. right, so I have 51, that'll be 102, and then plus 51 to that will give me 153, plus 51 to that will give me 204, plus 51 to that will give me, oopsie, 255. So I have 255 plus 51 to that will give me 306. Let's add another one to that one. That gives me 357. And then we'll stop there. If we need to keep going, we can. So looking at my 51, how many times is 51 going to the number 3? That will be a big fat 0. So I have, let me write this in a different color. 0. So I have 0 times 51, that's 0. Subtract it out. 3 minus 0 is 3. Bring down the 4. So now I have 34. How many times is 51 going to 34? Again, that is still too small, so I put another 0. 0 times 51 equals 0. Subtract it out. I get my 34 again. Bring down the next number, which is a 4. So now I need to see how many times does 51 go into the number 344. What's the biggest number I see here without going past 344? Looking at it, it's my 306. So which factor is that, or which multiple is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is my 6th multiple. 6 times 51 equals 306. Subtract it out. I have to borrow. This 4 turns to a 3, and this 4 is a 14. 14 minus 6 equals 8. Then I have 3 minus 0, which is 3. After I subtract, I always bring down the next number, which is going to be a 2. So now I have 382. Looking at my multiples, I see automatically that I should add some more multiples so that I can get the best answer. So adding another multiple in, I get, regroup, so that's 408. And let's keep going. Plus another 51 just in case. That's going to be 5, 4. So that's going to be 459. And we'll stop here. All right, so since we have our 459 here, let's add one more to it. Regroup, regroup. So now I have 510. Okay, I'm going to stop here because I don't think I'll need any more. So what is the biggest multiple that I see here that I can subtract from 382 without going past 382? The only one I see here that will work is the 357, and that is going to be the 7th multiple because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th multiple. So put my 7 here, subtract out the 357. I will have to borrow, that turns to a 7. Regroup, that turns to a 12. 12 minus 7 equals 5. 7 minus 5 equals 2. Then the last thing, of course, is bring down the last number, which is the last 5. And then I see I already have a 255 here. Which multiple is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is our 5th multiple. So now I'm subtracting out the 255. I get 0 here. Nothing left to do but to circle my quotient, which means my answer. So the quotient, I'll write it over here for this problem, is 6.75. That is our quotient. Let's go into the last example. All right, last example says 6.3 divided by 15. Again, just like what we know to do, put our house, dividend goes inside the house, divisor goes outside the house. Again, that divisor is a whole number, so there's no decimal to worry about in the divisor, but there is a decimal to worry about in my dividend. So I put my decimal on the roof so that I can place it into my quotient. Now let me get started on my multiples for my divisor, which is 15. All right, so I have 15, 30, 45. That is going to be, I think, 60. Let me double check. Plus another 15. Yep, 60. We'll go one more. Plus 15 again. That is going to be 75. All right. So I'm stopping there because I see my number here is 63. So I think we're pretty much done. So how many times does 15 go into the number 6? Looking at it, I see that it goes in 0 times because 6 is too small. 0 times 15 is 0. 6 minus 0 is 6. Bring down the 3. Now, how many times does 15 go into 63? The biggest number I see here is the 60, and that is the 1, 2, 3, fourth multiple. Fourth multiple. What is 4 times 15? That is 60. Subtract it out. I get a 3. All right, seeing that we have our 3 left over and there's nothing else to bring down, what we would do is just put a placeholder here, which is a zero, and then bring down that placeholder. So now that we have that placeholder here, that is the 0. And that means that we're going to now say, okay, oh, how many times does 15 go into 30? We see that that multiple is here, so that gives us 2. The 2 goes up top. 2 times 15 equals 30. Subtract it out, we get 0. So now since there's absolutely nothing left, our quotient is going to be 0.42. This is the only time that that really will happen for us is when we're dealing with our decimals, where we would have to just put a placeholder at the end so that we can finish out our number without a remainder. So our quotient is 0.42. Use this to help you with your problems for the rest of today.